sorry to end your conversations, but I am ready to start and introduce Sam to you. Before I introduce anyone, I usually write some things down, and I saw the name Sam Richmond, and I just took this giant breath, like, where do I even start when I introduce Sam? And that's really a good thing. Sam and I have spent a lot of time together, and I'm going to confidently say more than any student this year, Sam and I have spent more time together. To be exact, Sam was in 3 out of 5 classes with me second trimester. One of them was not actually on his schedule. He would just come to my room anyway. But through tennis, be it during high school and also in the summertime, be it outdoor club, philosophy class, math classes, we've just spent a tremendous amount of time together. There are some awards that Sam holds, and one would be that out of any student I've ever had in my entire 14-year teaching career, Sam gets me off track more than any student. And I'm still not sure if he is trying to get me off track or if he's genuinely interested to hear how my weekend was. He's amazing. When Sam is not present in class, it's also very obvious for some reasons that I don't have to tell you. There's this strange silence that occurs and everyone goes, what's off? And then we realize that Sam's not there. But in all seriousness, I absolutely adore this young man. I consider him family. I consider him a friend. I also consider him to be a tenacious student, someone who has grown incredibly as a math student. He has worked very, very hard to get there, and I'm immeasurably proud of you. Sam is also a great human, someone that I hope will keep in touch with me and send me fish pictures at all hours. And so words just can't say enough of how proud I am. So everyone, please introduce our welcome speaker.
So as previously mentioned, my name is Sam Richmond, and this is my senior presentation. Thank you guys so much for coming. All right. Oh, that sucks. Accomplishments. I will be graduating this year with 45 college credits. I am the co-founder of the Outdoors Club, and I also am a tennis league champ for 3 years in a row, which is something I'm very proud of. I had a lot of fun playing on the team. It's one of the few sports where all of my friends play, so it's a lot of fun to go down and get to hang out with everyone. I average 3 hours of community service per week, which we'll get into in a little bit. And I am graduating with a 3.8 unweighted GPA, which equated to a 4.1 weighted GPA. So that is something I'm very proud of. All right, internship experience. When I was a freshman, I interned with Karen Sargent, who was a substitute that we had at the school for a long time. And me and my friend Caber Boyd were super hyped up to be firefighters. And that was far from what we were going to be doing. So she took us down there and talked our ears off for like hours a day, had us wash all the trucks. We stocked Gatorade for 2 consecutive hours, and then she left us on a fire call, and we were picked up by school district employees. So that was kind of a weird introduction to firefighting, but I'll kind of circle back to that later on because it plays a role in my life now. And then next, this year, I got to do a fisheries biology internship with Mrs. Willard. And it was by far, hands down, my favorite internship I've ever done. Very cool experience. Here I am rowing a swing boat, which is a pontoon boat with 2 oars on the side, and then there's a metal deck in the middle. And we got to row the river, and we would collect dead salmon and scan them for pit tags. Look at adipose fins, which is a small fin on the back of the fish that hatcheries clip and wild fish retain. And so we got to do all sorts of surveys and collect data on these fish to see if they were wild or if they'd spawn. And it was, like I said, my favorite internship I've ever done. Leadership at MHS. I'm the co-founder with Eli Willard of the Manson Outdoors Club. And this has been something that impacted my life way more than I ever kind of foresaw happening. I'll kind of go into the events here and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So here we are ice fishing on Rose's Lake. And this is Miss Sorensen's awesome outdoors heated ice fishing tent, so that made it very, very pleasant. Here we are at the, blank on the name, but it's the Wenatchee Rock Climbing Gym. I wish we had a different photo of it. This kind of makes the gym look not all that tall, but where we're looking, there's a huge 80-foot vertical room with like inverted walls and all sorts of stuff. And we got most of the kids on the photo to go climb it, and Eli was belaying as well as auto belay machines. It was really cool to kind of build a level of trust where you're holding someone's life with them. And so that was really cool to kind of see that bond starting. And it really, I feel like that was the first big success of the club. And it was really exciting for me to kind of see it starting. And then down here, we're shooting clays up at Anawan. And kind of the common theme with the club is firsts for at least one person in the club, which is really meaningful to me because for me, it's like, these are things I do all the time because I enjoy them. And starting the club, you could stop laughing, Mom. You could argue as a slight, like, you could think of it as slightly selfish because it's just an excuse to get time off school to go do what I enjoy. But it really became something more than that when I got to see kids catching their first fish or shooting their first clay or kind of dipping into what I really like to do and getting the experience. It was really cool for me. So I love the outdoor club. Community service and contributions. So I volunteer at Real Life Church once a month, and I show up before church with Mr. Soliday and my dad and my brother, and we go and set up the church, which is actually kind of an interesting process because it's in the theater in Chelan, and so turning the theater into a church is not all that easy. There's a lot involved, but it's really cool, and we have a system that's developed that works really well. So we set up daycare for the little kids, we set up kind of a coffee area, we set up the outside and the auditorium itself. So I really enjoyed doing that. And I also did a missions trip with Real Life Church to Alaska, where I was a volunteer at a local construction firm. And we recarpeted a bunch of schools, we resurfaced a gym floor. I got to learn a lot about carpentry as well as kind of be with the church, and it was really good experience and help people that you otherwise would never interact with. So that was a really cool tool to get to meet new people. And then the Manson Fire Department is something I do for 3 hours a week. Typically, we have drill. There's an in-classroom portion and then a field kind of demo where they'd set up a scenario. And I do that with Brooks Pinsky and my dad. And I love doing it. I mean, it's so cool, and it's a real, they call it a first responder for a reason, and that's because you're the first ones there. And so you get to interact with people, maybe when they're in a really difficult situation, and try to provide kind of peace and reassurance and help them along. And it's really meaningful. I think it's one of the greatest honors a high schooler can have to serve his community. And then, like every student at Manson, I've done the community trash cleanup and Veterans Day setup and teardown, which it's really good they make us do it because it's a chance for us to interact firsthand with the people that help us. So for a lot of the veterans are donors to the school and for Rotary as well as scholarships. And so getting to go down and help them out and set up their little service is really cool. I've actually really loved doing it. And then the community trash cleanup, we get to help Vicki, who's the swim instructor and lifeguard at Manson Bay. And she's a lot of fun and always has some job to put us on, regardless of whether there's anything there to do or not. But this year we helped plant pots, we picked driftwood, and we weeded the entire kind of patio out there. So that was really fun. And I think the community service portion at Manson is huge and something they really push, which I'm really glad for. My legacy at MHS. I would love to see the outdoor club continue because the way it's impacted a lot of the kids that I kind of never knew beforehand and wouldn't really have thought it would affect, it really is effective. And so, for example, this is Kalani Sanchez. He's an 8th grader kind of playing up in a high school club. And I get emails, I get text messages from his mom weekly, and recommendations in the hallway of events that he wants to do, which is really cool. And so it's kind of, sometimes they're hard to, put into action. Like we can't learn how to fly helicopters or roller skating or ice skating in June, but it's all good. So I appreciate the enthusiasm. But I really want to see the club continue to touch kids like him, and it's really meaningful to me. So I'd love to see it continue. Advice to the youth. Advice to the youth. I think that grades should be a given in high school. That is something that you should always strive to, come on, man. I think grades should be a given because they're crucial to getting to college, but they're not all that it takes. And what I learned, and something that I had kind of theorized before applying to college, was that on top of grades, you need to be an interesting and in-depth person. And so things like the outdoor club, or personal interests like dirt bikes, or the fish studies, all kind of added to my quiver that made me an appealing person outside of just the academics that you obviously need to get. But I really think they're more interested in seeing that you are more than just kind of a number on a spreadsheet, that you really do things that make you human. So that helped me a ton when applying to colleges. Personal interests. So I have been a fisherman since I was this big. I'm not sure how old I am in the photo, but I remember this was kind of the start of it. I loved it after that. And since that I've fished my whole life. Here's my dad and I in Alaska fishing. And it's just a huge kind of release for me, and like something I really just love. Dirt biking has been kind of a new thing since moving out here, but it's turned into more of an obsession than an interest. I mean, it's all I think about, and it's just a lot of fun. I love doing it, and I have a great group of guys that I ride with, so that's been extremely meaningful to me. And then down here, it's just being outside and kind of experiencing nature, and super meaningful to me. Next steps, I will be going to Santa Clara so just south of San Francisco, and I will be studying business marketing, which is something I've always wanted to do. I'm very excited. And they have a great business program, and I recently found out that they have a study abroad program in Cape Town, South Africa, which is someplace I've always wanted to live. And so hopefully my sophomore year I'll get to go to Cape Town and go kind of immerse myself in a university there and learn about the local businesses. And that was just kind of a benefit to the school that I recently found out. I'm extremely excited about that. And so as far as I can tell, it's going to be a great fit. I've talked to a lot of people about it. I've never heard anyone say anything negative. Their business school is fantastic. I was lucky to get in there, so I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to go down there and study. This is my gratitude slide. I'm going to step back so I can see what's going on here. This are my dad's parents right here. This is Grandma Joyce and Grandpa Lynn. And they were, from a young age, very, very supportive of all kind of creativity that I might have had, like drawing. My grandma was a fantastic artist, so she really fostered my love for art. And my grandpa was a geologist and knew just a ton about, or archaeologist actually, and knew just also, and I guess he just had really fascinating stories for kind of an outdoorsy kid to listen to about going on digs, and really fostered my love for the outdoors. This is Mima and Pa, who are seated in the audience with us today. They are the first people I lived with when I moved out to Manson, and I can't thank you guys enough for giving me a place to stay. I just loved it, and they feed us all the time. And sometimes we show up with like 8 boys, and they are just game. So that I really appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. I love you. My mom and dad. My dad has always pushed me kind of behind the scenes, so very sneaky about it, but it really works. And so I never felt directly pressured, but somehow I was like, you know what, I'm going to do well. And so I really appreciate you, Dad, for that. And I love you. Mom, I've spent more time with you than any human on the planet. And I cannot thank you enough. I think you've made me the man I am today, taught me strong morals, right from wrong. We're not going to stop till you cry. And, I really just appreciate it. And yeah, so thank you, Mom. And then Mac and Addie, these are like my best friends. Just have a ton of fun with them. A lot of personality on these two. And they're just great, great people. I'm very blessed to have a fantastic family. So thank you guys so much. And then moving on to staff gratitude. Ms. Sorensen, I'll start with you. I am a pretty challenged math student, I would say. My mind just is more geared for English. And so Sorensen was able to just kind of explain it in a totally different way or look at it from a new light. I just really appreciate it, and it's helped me a ton. And she, man, with the outdoor club, before school, during school, and after school, she goes above and beyond, willing to help more than any teacher I've ever interacted with. I mean, pay for fishing licenses for kids that can't afford them. Just unreal. I really appreciate you, Sorensen. Thank you. And then up top, we have Mr. Fournier, who has kind of made me the writer I am today. I had English 131 with Ben, wherever he is, right back there. And that was the hardest class I've ever taken. I had no idea what a college class would really be like until taking that class. It was insane. It's usually a 2-trimester class, and we took it over 1. So we had 12 papers, and my final paper was an 11-page single-spaced. And I ended up graduating, or finishing the class with an A, which I was just extremely proud of, and he pushed me beyond what I thought most high school teachers would do, and I really am thankful for him for that. So yeah, thank you, Fournier. All right, thank you guys for coming to my senior presentation.